Tell him, McCluskey. Tell him what time it is.
Little Hen says it's time to rock and roll.
All you people are so scared of me.
Come quietly or there will be trouble.
Man, that's just me.
I'm Batman.
This is Sparta!
There is a tiger in the bathroom.
I'm an excellent driver.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Pop quiz, hotshot.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
You're right. That's E.T.'s home. E.T. Home phone.
Hello and welcome back to this week's Monday Movie Show, to the DVD and Blu-ray section. Coming up in this show after the DVD and Blu-ray top 10. There's my first screw up of the night. We have reviews of these films.
Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. We also have Red Lights, Chernobyl Diaries, an Oren Peli directed found footage film. What to Expect When You're Expecting. Baby Talk, in other words. Cockneys vs. Zombies does exactly what it says on the tin. Fantastic Fear of Everything, Lovely Molly, and the DVD alternative this week is Twister.
Yeah, Twister. Why Twister?
I don't know. I quite like Twister.
Okay. All right. Before that, though, let's go straight into our DVD and Blu-ray top 10.
Yeah, number 10, Rock of Ages.
Which we are still going to have a dispute about because of the fact that I really love it, and I know you really hate it.
Yeah, I really hate it.
I think it's down to the music. The thing with this film is the music. If you like the 80s sort of glam rock and the really cheesy scenery chewing performance of Tom Cruise as Stacey Jackson in this, which really just made me smile all the way through. Extremely not 12A rating material, which is what it has been given, but aside from that, it's really fun, enjoyable, and I still haven't seen the extended version on the Blu-ray yet.
Yeah, I don't think it's down to the music, though, because I grew up in the 80s as well. I was born in 1980, and I listened to a hell of a lot of that kind of music, so I don't think it was just down to the music. I think it was down, for me, it was down to the fact that there was too much of the music. So
I don't know. Yeah. I don't mind. I like that. I like that.
I think we better get on to the next film because we might be here all night saying, I hated this, I like that. Number 9, Taken.
I don't know who you are, but if you keep buying this film, I will find you and I will kill you. Yeah, simple as that, really.
Better than last week's impression.
Thank you. Taken back in this still because Taken 2's out, which is still in the top 10 in the cinema as well. So hopefully next week this will be out because it's now number 9. I mean, don't need any more. Although saying that, if you are going to go and see Taken 2 or buy Taken. Don't go and see Taken 2.
Yep, agreed. Or watch it on film because they always seem to be obsessed with showing that film.
Yeah, they have shown it quite a lot recently, so you can see it there for free.
Yeah, at number 8, Avengers Assemble.
Fantastic comic book film. Not my favourite comic book film of the year, but definitely the biggest and among the best that there have ever been. Joss Whedon does his magic with the Avengers team of Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, and Captain America all brought together for the first time on film. Fantastic film. 2.5 hours long, so we're prepared for that, but you should enjoy it from start to finish.
Yeah, number 7, Snow White and the Huntsman.
Which you will probably find its 2.5 hours running time is a bore from start to finish, as I did. Terrible performances from most of the cast except for Charlize Theron, who is just absolutely over the top. 7 dwarfs which turn up about halfway through the film and are completely forgettable, as is Kristen Stewart as the lead character. Unfortunately, not really forgettable is Chris Hemsworth's terrible accent as the Huntsman.
Yeah, at number 6 is a surprise re-entry for Avatar.
Yeah, now we were discussing this before the show. What it seems to be is because Avatar has finally been released on 3D Blu-ray. So a mixture of that being released and also the original Blu-ray release has been knocked down in price because of that. So people who haven't got it, who want the 3D version, have been getting it. People who haven't and just want the film have been getting the standard DVD for, I think it's something like £6 or something for the Blu-ray, which is pennies really.
Yeah. Number 5, Mrs. Brown's Boys Series 2.
Which I don't like, so just move on.
Yeah, number 4, Shrek Thrilling Tales.
Another one of these Halloween special DVDs, just released for Halloween, and Tesco's or Sainsbury's exclusive, one or the other. But it's sort of like £5 at the counter, and I think it's only about 25 minutes long.
Yeah, there's a Christmas one coming out as well, so be prepared for that one to go out and the Christmas one to come in to take its place. Yeah, and number 3, a new entry for Dark Shadows.
Which is Tim
Rubbish.
Burton again, not doing a good film. It's an adaptation of a 60s television show, I think, with Johnny Depp playing Barnabas Collins, who is a vampire who is dug up after being buried for 100 years or something like that, which is kind of how long the film feels like when you've been watching it. Completely wrong tone for a 12 rated film again. I hate that we're sounding like old men with this, but I think you agree with me on that.
Definitely.
And just Tim Burton doing what he does now as opposed to what he did 20 years ago.
Yeah, number 2, Prometheus.
Which is still getting a lot of mixed opinions from people. Some people still have issues with it because it's not an alien film. I think that happens to be a saving grace of it, and it's a great piece of science fiction which is set in the alien world and opens it up more, explains more of it, and also at the same time, being that it's written by Damon Lindelof, poses about twice as many questions as it does answer. Great performances from everyone: Michael Fassbender, Charlize Theron, and I cannot think of her name, the lead character.
Noomi Rapace.
Noomi Rapace, is that? And it's a really good science fiction film. Just don't expect it to be an alien film, and you'll enjoy it more.
Yeah, and also make sure you check out Andy's piece that he did about the extras on Following the Nerd Side. I don't think you posted it up on our site, did you?
I didn't know, because it was...
How dare you?
It was just something that I said I would do for that anyway, so... it's got... I mean, there is a... If you're buying the 3D version, there is an extra disc that comes with a 3-hour and 40-minute documentary about the making of it, which you don't get on the 2D version.
Yeah, and make sure listen to Following the Nerd Show a couple of weeks ago, which you'll find on Spreaker as well. Andy was on that detail and what's a part of those that documentary as well. It's actually a really good listen. Yeah, I give you a compliment. Number 1, Wrath of the Titans, a new entry.
Sorry, I was just distracted by the pig that flew past my window. Wrath of the Titans, which is a better film than Clash of the Titans. It's better than Clash of the Titans, which really isn't saying much because it's not a great film. It's got plotting problems. It sort of jumps along from this bit to this bit to this bit without really explaining how they got there. The special effects in it are really nice, and I haven't seen the home 3D version, but I saw it in the cinema in 3D, and surprisingly for a film that has been converted to 3D, it was good 3D. It's just unfortunately not 3D because it's just a shallow film and a cash-in again.
Yeah, Rage in the chat says she liked Wrath of the Titans but hated Prometheus.
Yeah, what does she know?
I think you need a word with her when you speak to her a little bit later on, probably. You need to have.
She'll be giving me hell for the Iron Man thing because she can't stand Iron Man and Robert Downey Jr. Yes, I said Robert Downey Jr. Rage. You're gonna have a go at me now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go to an ad break, and after that we'll have our... why am I saying all of this stuff? It's you who's hosting this part of the show.
Just play the advert, come on.
Damn it.
Done it now.
Right, advert. What do I need to say in an advert? Well, I need to say that we're the Gamescast. I need to say that we're on Twitter, @thegamescast. I need to say we're on Facebook. I need to say we've got a website, thegamescast.com, and I need to say we're on YouTube. Oh yeah, and we're on this thing called Spreaker.com. Don't know where that came from. What else? That's probably it. Right, better record it. Oh, crap. That was 30 seconds. The Gamescast. Grown-up gamers talking about games. Allegedly.
Some interesting feedback in the chat going on, which I don't think we can really repeat, can we?
Well, we can repeat the comment that Bouncy B Hall wanted to see more of Zeus and Hades teaming up in Wrath of the Titans, and he think they should be in the next Lethal Weapon movie, which
They'll be just about as old as that in the next Lethal Weapon film, wouldn't they? If they do another one.
Yeah,
so I'm not holding my breath on that. I think that probably is going to happen.
Yeah. I think we should get on to a review.
Yeah. Go on to your first one. Yeah, you're first with this tonight, so.
Yep, Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. It's directed by Timur Bekmambetov. He's gone back to the directing side of films rather than executive producing because he's been doing a lot of movies since. This is his first film that he's actually directed since Wanted. And so it shows you what he's been doing because he's been executive producer or he's been producer. He did Apollo 18, which is awful film, and he also did The Darkest Hour. He was a executive producer on that, which is another bad film as well. This one is sort of like takes Abraham Lincoln but twists the story around a little bit. In the opening of the film, it's Abraham Lincoln when he's a boy, and it's obviously set during the time when black people have obviously been treated as slaves and etc. And so Abraham Lincoln as a young boy tries to help a friend out after his friend is getting beaten up by this guy. And then his father has to step in because this guy is going to beat up Lincoln as well. And this guy just turns around and says that, you might as well say he threatens them. That night his mother ends up passing away for some unknown reason, which Lincoln sees something happening in the bedroom from the loft area, but you don't exactly see exactly how his mother died, and I said exactly a few too many times there. So his mother passes away, and so for 8 years of his life his father says he can't seek out revenge, and so Lincoln has grown up as well, and his father passes away after 8 years, and this is the perfect time for Lincoln to get revenge. However, in a bar, he's met by a character which is played by Dominic Cooper, who turns around and says that a person only comes to a bar if he wants to drink, to pick up women, or he's going to end up killing somebody, and evidently he is going to kill somebody. He goes to this pier to try and hunt down this person who caused all this trouble with his family. He ends up discovering that this person is a vampire and gets help from Dominic Cooper's character. Dominic Cooper's character then turns around and says that he can train him up to try and slaughter these vampires. Here's a clip.
I'd like you to chop this tree down with a single swing.
That tree? It's got to be more than a foot across. That's impossible.
But it isn't a tree. It's what you hate most in the world. So tell me, Mr. Lincoln, what do you hate?
I hate that my mother was taken away.
Inadequate.
I hate that we were afraid.
And?
That my mother, father, everyone that we knew lived in fear.
Pathetic.
I hate that I was too small.
Too weak.
Yes.
And that you failed.
Yes.
To protect her.
Yes.
And that you let her die. Power, Lincoln. Real power comes not from hate, but from truth.
And so, as you heard in that scene there, he has major feats of strength because he's able to chop down a tree just brilliantly. What happens there is Cooper's character tells Lincoln that he needs to go off into the city, and he will send him letters every now and again detailing people who he needs to kill. But he's been told to keep a low profile, not to get embroiled in any kind of relationship, in any kind of friendship whatsoever, apart from taking down these vampires who he's been told to take down. The thing is, though, Lincoln does end up establishing a relationship from Mary Todd, who comes into his shop one day, played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead. He ends up marrying her, and so it then fast forwards at him growing up as the proper Abraham Lincoln that people know, and taking down vampires, specifically a vampire called Adam, played by Rufus Sewell, who's sort of like supposed to be the alpha vampire, the head vampire, and the whole movie is Lincoln trying to stop this vampire revolt during the Gettysburg Address, etc. Now, the problem with the movie is that it tries to take itself way too seriously because of the fact that it's taken a real-life historic thing that's happened in American history, a really important thing that's happened in American history, and then twist the story around a little bit by adding vampires into it, but still keeping it down a real path, rather than doing a sort of like alternate reality. They've decided to do it in a proper reality with just a twist with the vampires added to it. Now, if you're going to do that, then the first thing you should not do is make the vampires CGI. I really despise CGI vampires because if you want to try and make your movie serious and you have CGI vampires in it, then you've just gone and shot yourself in the foot from straight there. Also, the amount of slow motion in the movie is insane. Specifically, fight scenes in the film. You might as well say you are watching it in slow motion for about 2.5 minutes. It really grates on you really badly. The set pieces are awfully done. The cinematography is horrendous. It's really just really bad to look at. You do not want to focus on the screen for very long. The acting is horrible. It's not a very good film at all. It should have been either a serious film where it had no vampires in it whatsoever, but then it would have lost the appeal of being Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. But with a name like that, you're expecting a movie that's really tongue-in-cheek and quite cheesy, and it would have worked on that foot. But because it's Timur Bekmambetov is trying to make it a serious film, it doesn't work. It's a really boring, awful film.
Okay, let's move on to Red Lights, which is directed by Rodrigo Cortés, directed and written by Rodrigo Cortés. It's a sort of a psychological thriller which follows a couple of people at the start of the film. Psychologist Margaret Matheson, played by Sigourney Weaver, and her assistant, who's played by Cillian Murphy. And she's basically a woman who goes around and she sort of tests people who claim to have psychic abilities or who claim to be mediums and such, shows that they are sort of fakes or frauds, finds whatever their techniques are, knows all the tricks of the trades and how to expose them all. Goes about doing this, and Cillian Murphy's character Tom is sort of with her, helping her this join. He's basically like her understudy. The whole thing is then sort of kicked off with an old rivalry of hers, played by Robert De Niro, plays Simon Silva, who is a big, well-renowned celebrity, kind of, I can't think of the right word, not psychist, but I can't think of the right word. It's like a, kind of David Blaine kind of thing.
Fraud.
But better. Not fraud, but kind of a...
he's into sort of like paranormal,
a medium. He's like a medium, but not a medium. Oh, I don't know. I can't think of the right word. It's bugging me now. But he comes onto the scene again out of sort of having been out of the public light for years, reigniting this old sort of issue that she tried to then prove him a fraud at one time previously. She goes on television in an interview with his people. Things get out of hand, and she ends up sort of conceding defeat in this interview, and leaving, sort of walking out in the middle of the interview, which ends up leaving them looking kind of a bit defrocked themselves. And Tom's character then comes up to her. Tom comes up to speak to her about why they shouldn't investigate Silver again. Here's a clip.
Silver and I were on a television show just like the one yesterday. And he started staring. Not at me. He was staring at something beside me. I wasn't surprised. I was expecting theatrics, so I was prepared. I see a boy by your side. Do you know who that might be, Margaret? Has a boy close to you died? This boy is asking you to let him go. He says, you have to let him go. Now, did I denounce him as an unscrupulous fraud? Did I tell him that my son was still alive? Did I say anything in front of those millions of people who were waiting for my answer? What I can't forgive is not that he dared to use my son, my sleeping sick son. What I can't forgive is that for 1 second, I thought it might be true. He made me doubt. And everyone could see it. He's dangerous, Tom. Stay away from him.
So things start to then build up after a certain incident happens, which I'm not going to say because it will spoil events. And the whole thing then starts to build on kind of a quick ride to the end of the film where there's a thing going on. And the whole thing about it is that when this was released, it was a big touted thing and linked to. It kept getting references made to things like The Sixth Sense, which I didn't see this at the time when it came out in the cinema. Just having seen it now. One of the things I would say is that is a bit of a mislead, because there is the whole sort of the supernatural question thing about it to do with mediums and such and psychics and things like that, and all that sort of the question of is it, isn't it sort of thing. And there is, I mean, it's not, I don't think it's a spoiler saying the only link, I think the reason people were saying it's like The Sixth Sense is because it has a twist ending. And I'm not going to give away any more than that as to what it is or anything, but it's that kind of a thing. That's what it's linked into The Sixth Sense. Aside from that, it's just a really decent thriller. It's not brilliantly well written. There's this whole thing of that you got a character that's brought in, maybe not halfway through, just before that, played by Elizabeth Olsen, who is a student in one of Margaret Matheson's classes. And the whole thing of that she then comes in and starts helping them to investigate as kind of like an understudy. And for me, it was just a case of too many characters. There's also this ongoing thing as well with Toby Jones playing a character who is another guy who's investigating all these mediums and such. And he's kind of signing off on the method of how they investigate these people and how they prove it or how they disprove it. You've got Jodie Richardson in there as well, who's a brilliant actress, but in this she's just completely wasted in a background actor character. And it's just too many things going on that if there had been less people, it would have made it a better film. It's not 2 hours long, so it doesn't stretch itself out too far, but it could have been easily an hour and a half and been a better film. So it's a decent thriller. But if you're going in there expecting The Sixth Sense, you are not going to get The Sixth Sense.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Rodrigo Cortés is sort of like the M. Night Shyamalan, the sort of like more updated version of M. Night Shyamalan.
Well, he's a weaker version, but he's more online than him, I think.
Yeah, the thing is, though, that's not where I was going. The reason why I think he is more like M. Night Shyamalan is because M. Night Shyamalan is obsessed with having a twist at the end of the film. Cortés does the same, because the last film that he did was Buried, with Ryan Reynolds in it. And it's sort of like he plays it the same way as Shyamalan does it. And this movie is, I think it's weaker than Buried, but I actually quite like Buried, but it's a one-time only film. You can only watch it once. This film is pretty decent. It's nice to see Sigourney Weaver in a decent film rather than just being in a film where she's just there to get a paycheck. And it's not too bad, but I think I agree with what Bouncy's saying on the live chat, saying that why doesn't Robert De Niro just retire? I think it's about time that he does retire.
Yeah, that's kind of true. He is now on the downslope. I mean, he's not quite Steven Seagal yet, but he's heading there.
Yeah, so it's a good film. It's good.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, well, it's a good. Yeah, it's a solid film. It's just not. Honestly, it's not worthy of a cinematic release. It is straight to video material, but it's good straight to video material. It's not worthy if you want something that's really big and cinematic. There's things in it that are shot and it's kind of nice and it looks alright, but it doesn't look. It has a feel like a kind of a TV movie thing to it, which is where it sort of falls on its face a bit.
Yeah. Next film, it's Chernobyl Diaries. It's produced by Oren Peli, so Paranormal Activity fame. It's ditched the found footage kind of thing that Oren Peli seems to be obsessed with. He even did that with The River, a TV series that only lasted 8 episodes, I think it did, didn't it? The River lasted 78 episodes or something like that. So he's decided to ditch the found footage movie. There is a bit of shaky cam in the film, but it's mostly shot like a standard movie, but still a bit more shakier than you would expect at a standard film. This follows 6 people. Specifically at the start of the film, it follows 4 people. A couple of them played by Jesse McCartney, Jonathan Sadowski, who plays Paul, and Olivia Durley, who plays Natalie. They have gone off into Russia. They're actually just going around Europe because McCartney's character has met up with his brother and his girlfriend, and they've both met up, and they're going to go off to Norway, but his brother comes up with an idea that they should go on an extreme tourist kind of trip, and so they go to this guy who can take them to Pripyat, which is just outside of Chernobyl, where the Chernobyl reactor went off. I can't remember how long ago it was, something like 25 years ago, something in that region of that.
Yeah, 1986 I might be, I'm thinking.
Yeah, it's something in the region of 25, 30 years ago. And so they're going off to Pripyat. They're joined by another couple. And so this guy, Yuri, who's this person who takes people on these extreme tourism jaunts, decides to take them to Pripyat. On their way there, they're stopped at the sort of like border by these guards who turns around and tells them that they can't go through because there is some like work being done. They don't believe that, so they find an alternative route. When they get into Pripyat, they explore the area. They've been told by Yuri they've got a couple of hours to do that. And they explore the area, but when they get back to the bus that they've got there to Pripyat, it's sort of like being messed with. Here's a clip.
Someone has to know we're out here, right?
I work alone.
So, tell me, Yuri, what are our options right now?
We stay in van.
Are we safe here?
Yes, we're safe. We close windows, lock doors. In morning, I fix van, we drive up. Or we all walk back to checkpoint.
Wait, I'm sorry. Are you suggesting that we spend the night here?
Okay, guys. I'm sorry. We're going to have to hike out of here, all right? Yuri, how far to the checkpoint?
It's 20 kilometers.
That's 20 kilometers. That's like 12, 13 miles.
Exactly. We can hike that.
No,
Yes.
not at night. It is not safe.
Shh, be quiet.
What the fuck was that?
Are there people here?
It's impossible.
Shh.
It sounds like a baby.
What is that?
It's not baby.
Whoa. What's with the gun, man?
You have problem?
You did a boo-boo, didn't you?
Yeah, I just noticed there is a swear word in that clip there. We normally don't have swear words at all, and I think I'm the first one to do that. Yep.
Yeah.
It's taken this long, just over a year.
It's no good now. The reputation's ruined, sullied. That's it.
One swear word, so sorry for that swear word there, if you did manage to catch it in that clip. And so the rest of the film is just them trying to survive because something else is in Pripyat. And Bouncy from the Lollicosters turned around and says that the Lollicosters going on holiday to Chernobyl, Pripyat next year will be scarier than this film. Completely and utterly agreed. That it has a good idea, a good premise. You can shooting a horror film in somewhere like Pripyat or Chernobyl is a really good idea because not very many films have sort of like shot in that area. It's a desolate area and it deserves to have a horror film done there. But a horror film that's done much better than this, it's not scary at all. When you find out what exactly is in Pripyat and chasing after these people, you just realise, really? Are you sure that these people could have survived there? It's just, honestly, it's stupid. It's not scary. It's better than what Pelly has done in the past, considering that everything else that he has done has just been a bit crap. It's better than things like The Devil Inside, which is, again, is sort of like a found footage film. But this is not found footage. It's not a found footage movie. But it's still rubbish, and it should be avoided. And again, sorry for the swear.
That might not be the only swear word tonight when you see what I'm coming up with now. What to expect when you're expecting, which is a comedy. From director Kirk Jones. It follows the lives of 5 couples who are all different sort of stages of expecting a child, either some of them through pregnancy, some of them through adoption, and the couples involved in things like you've got Cameron Diaz playing a celebrity who is the host of a show who's doing like a dancing Strictly Come Dancing kind of thing, and finds out she's pregnant. You've got Elizabeth Banks, who's playing a character where her and her husband are this couple who have been trying to have a kid for ages and with no success. Brooklyn Decker's character, who is married to a much older man, which is Dennis Quaid's character, who is expecting twins. And you have J-Lo, Jennifer Lopez, in there, with Rodrigo Santoro, who is they're a couple who are actually planning to adopt because they haven't been able to have a kid as well. So all these different aspects of potentially becoming parents and so on, with sort of characters who are completely idiots and stupid and annoying, and it's just really it's a chick flick that chicks will be annoyed at because of the fact that there'll be a split. There'll be no guys who will like this. There'll be chicks who will like this, and there'll be chicks who hate it because of the fact of the whole thing being about potential motherhood and such. Not add to that, you've got this whole thing of everyone freaking out about being a parent or happy about it and excited and all, and then you've got this whole thing of the dude club where all the wives and all the women have got together and said to all the guys, get together, have a club where you can all meet up, and you can all meet out at the park with a whole bunch of other fathers who can give you advice and stuff and help you get prepared for it, all led by Chris Rock. No, I'm not kidding. The dude club, a group of guys who are giving lessons on and advice on how to raise kids and stuff, are led by Chris Rock, who is a father with, yes, I mean there's a scene, I'm going to mention it as well because Bouncy mentioned it as well, but it's not funny at all. I didn't laugh except for one thing, and that's to do with slapstick humour of a kid getting hit in the head with a full beer can. So not just an empty beer can, not a tap, it's a solid smack to the head on a 4 or 5 year old kid. It's just it's annoying. It's really just an annoying film. Whiny characters who you just don't want to listen to anymore, and it runs on for far too long, being at an hour and 50 minutes. It's not funny. It's boring. I hate the characters. I hate myself for watching it, and I will hate you if you watch it as well. Just don't.
Oh, I'm not touching it with a barge pole.
I'm not saying to you. I'm saying it to you listening out there. Just don't.
You. And let's get on with Cockneys versus Zombies because we're quickly running out of time. It's directed by Matthias Horn. It's a British film. It's got a really good cast in the fact that it's got Georgia King, Michelle Ryan, Honor Blackman, Alan Ford, Richard Bryars is in it as well, and it's a comedy horror film. What you expect with a title like Cockneys vs Zombies. The start of the film is two workmen uncover this grate, accidentally release this zombie thing in there, and then it flashes forward to this these two brothers who have come up with an idea to try and rob a bank because their grandfather's old people's home is getting closed down. They try to rob this bank. It doesn't go all to plan because as soon as they get out of the bank, not only are they held up by police, they go back into the bank, they come back out. All the police have gone because of zombies. And it's set in the West End of London, so the West End of London has been taken over by zombies. They need to survive. They need to try and get to the old people's home to try and rescue them. That's the plot of the film. Honestly, it's a really funny film. I really like this movie. I like tongue-in-cheek horror films where they don't take themselves seriously at all. And it's really funny because of the fact that the old age pensioners. If you can't laugh at a movie where you see Honor Blackman and Richard Bryars holding Uzis, killing zombies, specifically Richard Bryars, who's got a Zimmer frame with an Uzi attached to it, then there's something seriously wrong with you. Now, I know American people are going to go, who's Honor Blackman or Richard Bryars? Just watch the film and you'll find out.
They should know Honor Blackman.
Yeah, she was in the Avengers, the TV series. So, yeah, you'll find out anyway. But honestly, Cockneys vs Zombies is one of those movies where if you want something to watch on a Saturday night and you've got friends around or whatever, it's a perfect film for that. I liked it a lot. But it's not up there with Shaun of the Dead.
Is it not? I was wondering that. I was wondering how it compares because I do want to see this. I really do want to see it.
This one's more tongue-in-cheek than Shaun of the Dead is. But that's because Shaun of the Dead is a zombie rom-com. It's a zombie romantic comedy. This one is just a zombie comedy. But it's still a really, really enjoyable film.
Linking in with Shaun of the Dead, Fantastic for Everything. See what I did there?
Yeah. Move on quickly.
Which stars Simon Pegg. It's written and directed by Crispin Mills, who many people may recognise as the lead singer of the band Cooler Shaker. It's a comedy with Simon Pegg's character Jack, who is a sort of a guy who lives in his flat. He's a writer, and he has some issues. Here's a clip.
I'd been carrying a carving knife around with me for 3 weeks due to an irrational fear of being murdered. I couldn't sleep at night. As soon as I got into bed, I started seeing killers. These killers were the subject of a series of plays I had been writing for television. The nature of the project necessitated research into heinous Victorian criminals, and I had unwittingly familiarized myself with all the famous hackers, dosers, and severers of the 19th century. Faces that would have frightened the Ripper. Many a long night I spent there, drenched in thoughts of bloody murder. I became particularly disturbed by a man I called the Hendon Ogre, a maniac from North London who had boiled the arsenic out of flypapers and introduced the result into his lodger's broth. I'd lie awake for hours thinking of the brute, terrified someone was slipping arsenic into my diet.
So there's this whole thing of that he's essentially afraid of everything, freaking out, paranoid, and also then at one point after an accident in his kitchen finds that he needs to do some laundry, which he then needs to go to a laundromat to do so, and unfortunately he is absolutely terrified, has a complete phobia of laundrettes. Now, it's a weird thing with this film because it's a comedy film, but it's really bizarre. It looks oddly amazing at times. There's some really nice sort of visual touches and visual style to it. Simon Pegg is quite entertaining and watchable in it, but very at the same time weirdly disconcerting, and his voiceover, those monologues are through the whole thing. It's odd and sort of captivating. There's this whole thing though that at points where it verges on genius in with the style of it, the way it's done, but then at different times just drops to nothing much happening. There's also a problem with it where it gets to a certain point and then other characters are introduced and it kind of jumps to that character and you see you have a flashback sort of thing or a history of that character, which is unnecessary. It slows it down, completely wastes the pace that it's going at. But it's not a long film. It is an hour and 30 odd minutes, I think it is. But it's not a bad film, but it's very quirky, and unless you are really in the mood for it, I think you will struggle to enjoy it. It's odd. It's very odd. It's hard to describe it anything other than that. It's kind of like an acid trip. If you have a really bad trip on acid, that's what this is like.
Right, quickly get on to Lovely Molly. It's directed by Eduardo Sanchez, who did The Blair Witch Project. And this centres around a couple, Molly played by Gretchen Lodge and Tim played by Johnny Lewis. They've moved into Molly's father's house because he's passed away, and so they moved into there. It's a perfect house for them. A couple of months after the father passed away, strange things happen to Molly while Tim's away because he's a truck driver, and weird things, like I said, start to happen to her. Progressively through the movie, she gets worse and worse. She starts to go taking drugs again. She starts inhabiting really weird tics and things. She's seen a lot sitting on her bed naked, talking to an invisible thing. Supposedly, it could tie into what might have happened in the house. And the movie itself is more like a character piece on Molly and how she goes from just being a normal, ordinary person and degrades so much that the insanity is taken over her really badly. It's brilliantly acted by Gretchen Lodge. She's fantastic as Molly, very eerie. The movie itself has a problem with pacing. It has a pacing problem in the middle part. But Eduardo Sanchez has finally shaken off the Blair Witch Project curse and the fact that he hasn't been able to direct a movie that's been really decent since then. And in this case, he has. He's done a really good job with Lovely Molly. It's a really good film. It's very creepy. There is a couple of scenes in it which shocked me. And I'm not easily shocked. I know, but I actually quite liked Molly, and that's down to Gretchen Lodge, and I don't think anybody else would have been able to play Molly any better. So it's definitely well worth a watch. Quickly,
your alternative?
Twister. It was released in 1996 and directed by Jan de Bont, who did the Speed films. Speed 1, really good. Speed 2, terrible. Yeah, and it's got Helen Hunt and Bill Paxton. It's mainly about people who hunt down these tornadoes and create this machine to try and obviously read the inside of the inside of a tornado. And it's one of those kind of movies where it's a brilliant Saturday film. I know I keep on harking on about weekend films, but it's perfect to show at the weekend. It's like Independence Day or whatever. It was a big, huge, massive blockbuster movie when it was released, and it's one of those movies where I've seen it more than 10, 15 times, and I still enjoy it now. It's a really enjoyable popcorn film.
It is all big action special effects, though, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, but it's still a really good, enjoyable movie. It's got Philip Seymour Hoffman in it in one of his earlier roles as well, and Carrie Ellis is in it as well, and I liked it. I like Twister. It's one of those guilty pleasure kind of films.
Okay, movie of the week.
Cinema-wise, definitely Madagascar. DVD-wise,
Yes.
I would say Cockneys versus Zombies, just to give the British scene a bit more of a big up.
I agree cinema-wise, Madagascar 3, without a doubt. But, DVD, I'm going to have to say Red Lights, because definitely not what to expect when you're expecting. That's it. That's it for this week. Thanks for listening to us live if you have people in the chat. Or if you are listening to us on places like iTunes or YouTube in particular, please feel free to leave us a comment or rating of some kind, because there are options on there to do that, and we'd really appreciate that. We also can be found the details on our website, mondaymovieshow.co.uk, where you can also always listen to the show, and you can see on there some written reviews from us, as well as Stuart's Paranormal Activity 4 written review, which will only be up for a few more days, so get it quick while it's still hot before he deletes it.
Because it's rubbish.
You can reach us on Twitter at Monday Movie Show, or you can reach us both at AHDVD for me, at Cryptic Tadpole for Stuart. We're also on Facebook, so just search Monday Movie Show on there. Search us on Spreaker if you're not listening to us live, because you're already there. Spreaker.com, just search Monday Movie Show. Just search Monday Movie Show anywhere. I think Google brings us up about a few times as well by now, so thankfully we're getting some good hits on there. Until next Monday again at 7:30. When next week we'll be doing our show as normal on the Monday show, and then on Wednesday we'll be doing a special Halloween show. Yeah, sorry, I'm just tongue-tied. We're doing a special Halloween show on Hallows Eve on the Wednesday night, and with that we hope to have a couple of guys from Following the Nerd with us, as well as being giving away some Halloween DVDs. So if you guys are interested in listening to that, and win yourself some DVDs on the show. So until next Monday night, thank you for listening. Wherever you are, please feel free to get in touch with us and give us some feedback. And if you are able to, join us next Monday at 7:30. Until then, good night.
Bye.
Circus.
Afro. Circus Afro. That was strange.
That was terrible.